the common things we use every day were invented completely by accident. There are many examples of office supplies, food, and even toys that were discovered entirely by chance. The stories behind these creations are truly fascinating. Cornflakes were invented when the Kellogg brothers left granola out to dry, and Nutella was created when a confection of hazelnut and chocolate was left to melt in the sun. From Play-Doh to Post-it notes to Botox, here's a look at how these amazing accidental inventions made their creators super rich. Your favorite breakfast cereal was a complete accident. Dr. John Harvey Kellogg and Will Keith Kellogg accidentally invented cornflakes way back in 1894. They were trying to make granola, but the brothers let their concoction dry out for too long. Undeterred, the pair pressed the wheat anyway, and the result was a crispy and healthy breakfast treat. In 1906, Will Keith Kellogg mass-marketed the cereal and swapped out wheat for corn. By 1910, money was rolling in. Battle Creek Toasted Cornflake Company was making over $1 million annually. Today, cornflakes are more popular than ever. At the time of producing this video, the Kellogg Company had a market cap of $21.88 billion. Chemist Roy J. Plunkett accidentally created a polymer that made him incredibly rich. In 1938, while working for DuPont, Plunkett accidentally created Teflon while attempting to develop a new refrigerant. He noticed the slippery white powder was frictionless, anti-corrosive, and heat-resistant. DuPont patented Teflon in 1941, and by the late 40s, the company was selling 900 tons of the product a year. The incredible polymer is still a cash cow for DuPont, and it's used to make a variety of goods, from cookware to computer wire. Today, DuPont's annual worldwide revenue from Teflon is about $1 billion. Who doesn't love Nutella? Would you believe that the sweet spread was invented completely by accident? Way back in 1946, an Italian pastry chef by the name of Pietro Ferrero was looking to create an affordable chocolate treat. There was just one problem. Cocoa bean prices were through the roof. Ferrero decided to pack his candy bars with hazelnut and use less cocoa. Gianduja was born, and it was an instant hit. In 1949, a pile of Gianduja bars was accidentally left out in the sun. The bars melted into a creamy concoction. Ferrero's son added vegetable oil to the mixture, and Nutella was born. Today, Ferrero Spa's annual revenue is a staggering $12 billion, and the company sells a jar of Nutella every 2.5 seconds. Botox was originally used to treat eye muscle disorders, but today it's a necessity for Beverly Hills socialites and celebrities. In the 1980s, Dr. Jean Carruthers used botulinum toxin to treat her patients, but she soon noticed a strange side effect. The Botox wasn't just treating eye disorders, it was smoothing wrinkles and making her patients look noticeably younger. Carruthers soon realized she had discovered an amazing anti-aging treatment, but it took a long time for Botox to be approved for cosmetic purposes. She published a scientific paper on Botox in 1991, and Botox gained FDA approval for cosmetic use in 2002. Today, Botox injections generate $3.2 billion in revenue a year. What walks downstairs alone or in pairs and makes the happiest sound? Everyone knows it's Slinky. You might remember that catchy jingle that played during Saturday morning cartoons, but did you know that the Slinky was invented entirely by accident? Kids today prefer iPads and PlayStation 5s, but back in the day, the Slinky was the world's most popular toy. Way back in 1943, naval engineer Richard James was attempting to develop a tension spring system that could be used to stabilize a ship's cargo during stormy weather. After accidentally dropping the spring, he realized it would make a great children's toy. He spent years perfecting the design and borrowed $500 to make 400 Slinkies. When the Slinkies hit the shelves at Gimbel's department store, they sold out in an hour and a half. 100 million Slinkies were sold in the first 2 years of production. That's about $1 billion in revenue adjusted for inflation. If you want to protect your furniture and carpet from stains, you probably have some Scotchgard in your closet. The ingenious stain and water repellent was invented entirely by accident back in 1952 by chemist Patsy Sherman. She was trying to create a brand new type of fluorochemical rubber that wouldn't deteriorate when exposed to jet fuel. But when she spilled some liquid rubber on her assistant's sneaker, she noticed something incredible. The unique substance repelled all sorts of stains, leaving the sneakers in pristine condition. Sherman and her colleagues refined the substance, and 3M began selling Scotchgard in 1956. By the year 2000, 3M was making $300 million in annual sales revenue from Scotchgard alone. If you're a diabetic or you want to cut calories, you might just reach for some Splenda. The artificial sweetener is a common sugar replacement in coffee and sweets, but its creation was entirely unintentional. In 1975, grad student Shashikant Padnis was researching insecticide compounds with his advisor, Leslie Huff. When Huff asked Padnis to test a sample of a chemical compound, he put it straight into his mouth. Padnis had thought that Huff asked him to taste the sample, not test it. Luckily, the compound was sweet and completely safe, and Huff quickly realized that the compound would make an excellent substitute for sugar. The researchers teamed up with sugar producer Tate & Lyle to create Splenda. The product was an instant hit. In 2014, annual sales revenue from Splenda reached $300 million, and today it's the #1 artificial sweetener in the United States, with a 62% market share. Nothing beats a tasty popsicle on a hot day, but this sweet summer treat might not exist today if it wasn't for Frank Epperson's absent-mindedness. When Epperson was 11 years old, he left a concoction of soda powder and water on his patio overnight. The stir stick he left in the liquid made an excellent handle, and when he awoke the next morning, he discovered a cold treat. In 1923, Epperson started selling his homemade popsicles, which at the time were called Epsicles. 1 year later, he founded the Popsicle Corporation and patented his tasty invention. His ingenuity and forgetfulness paid off big time, because in 1983, Unilever bought the Popsicle brand for a cool $155 million. Harry Coover got super lucky when he created super glue by accident. The Eastman Kodak scientist was trying to create clear plastic gun sights during World War II, but instead discovered cyanoacrylate. The sticky substance annoyed him to no end as it stuck to everything. Cyanoacrylate was not useful for plastic gun sights, and Coover's research was sidelined. Years later, Coover revisited his research while his coworker Fred Joyner was developing heat-resistant canopies for jets. The pair realized that cyanoacrylate would make an amazing adhesive, and in 1958, Eastman Kodak put Eastman No. 910 on store shelves. The name wasn't catchy, but it sold well. The incredible adhesive was renamed Superglue in the 70s, and by the 80s, the product was earning Eastman Kodak $100 million per year. The Post-it note is ubiquitous in offices around the world, and it made Arthur Fry incredibly rich. In 1958, 3M scientist Dr. Spencer Silver was researching ultra-strong adhesives, but created a weak adhesive instead. Fry saw this research and suggested the adhesive be used to make stickable and reusable bookmarks. The product was a huge hit, and sales went through the roof. At the time of producing this video, 3M had a market cap of $15.57 billion, while Fry had a net worth of $5 million. Play-Doh was originally used as a wallpaper cleaner, but it became one of the world's most popular toys thanks to Joseph McVicker. His sister-in-law, who was working as a teacher, took the putty to school for her students to play with. The children were enamored with the non-toxic putty, and McVicker got an idea. He added scents and colors to the dough and began selling Play-Doh through his company Rainbow Crafts. In 1964, McVicker sold his company to General Mills for $3 million. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that Thomas Edison was one of the richest inventors of all time?